Have you been looking for a Taekwondo podcast with qualified people who know what they're talking about, who help you keep up with everything going on in the Taekwondo world? Well, you found it. This is the Taekwondo Podcast. Taekwondo news, competitions and other events, training and sports science, keeping the fans, coaches, and high-performance athletes up to date with the latest news and trends on Olympic Taekwondo. Let's do this. This is the Taekwondo Podcast. And here's your host, César Valentim.
Hello and welcome to the Taekwondo Podcast. We're a podcast based out of Austria in English language for everyone out there who likes Taekwondo. On this episode, we take a look at the Olympic Games in Paris and have a quick conversation about day one. So welcome up to our podcast. I'm Coach César Valentim. With me is Coach Don Lewis. Hi, Don. How are you?
I'm very good, César. Had a great late night and early morning today with the Taekwondo. I loved it.
Yes, I'm lucky I'm in the same time zone. I get to wake up in the morning, do my stuff, get to watch the first qualification and the preliminaries matches, then go for lunch. Do the same. It's nice to be in the same time zone. Well,
I was going to say that it starts at midnight for me, and around 3 a.m. I had to pass out. Got up at 6:37 and caught up.
Well, in 4 years, it's going to be over on your side of the pond, so it will be the other way around for us.
Excellent.
So it was a long hiatus for this podcast. Unfortunately, I could not keep up with the workload and had to prioritize my club and my Taekwondo program, my athletes, leaving some stuff behind. I had to open new locations. I'm expanding. So, of course, it doesn't bring me any income, so I do it for fun. I have a chat with my friends over the internet to compile it into a weekly podcast, but it was just not possible. I had to stop for over a year. Many of our regular listeners kept asking, please bring out new episodes. So, well, here we are. We had a chat today on WhatsApp and decided to have a daily summary of the Paris Olympic Games matches. And what a comeback is going to be for the podcast. 4 episodes in a row with you, Don.
That's wonderful. I'm glad to help you out. And it's going to be a lot of effort over these next 4 days. I'll plow my way through it with little sleep.
I'll be watching as much as I can. And at the same time, giving training. I'm going to be in Paris as well for the Paralympics as a coach. So I have to prepare my athletes, not watch only the Olympic Games. And I have to confess, I could not watch every match. During the training, I had the big flat screen streaming the matches, but other things always come in the way. So I guess it will be much up to you, Don, doing much of the talking. So I'll start by asking you, what were, in your opinion, the highlights of the day?
Well, there was a lot of highlights. And, we talked briefly. The venue is spectacular. Apparently, they spent 3 years renovating it, getting ready for these games, and they did a magnificent job. I believe there was maybe 8,000 people there in attendance. It sure looked like it. And they were enthusiastic and somewhat knowledgeable, so that's good. The video was really good. And at the end, they had a camera on the referee for the finals. And I thought that was kind of interesting to see some of those shots. It was on the left ear, I think, of the referees. The one complaint I have, and it's really the only complaint, is that the scoreboard that you see on the TV screen isn't the usual, KPNP scoreboard screen that shows hits and a lot more details. It was just their sort of made-up screen that they show just generic scores. So, minor detail, but overall fantastic effort by everybody.
Yes, the scoreboard, I can see that Swiss Timing and Omega are doing quite a good job with the timekeeping, but there's always a little bit of delay between the score, especially in the vests, and being showed on the scoreboard. That's one of the things I noticed.
Right. So as far as highlights, as far as matches go, I've got a few I'd like to mention and cover. Let's start with female 49. We know, of course, the Queen, Panapak, won overall, and she had a good day, of course, like she always does. But there's some other matches that deserve some mention. One of them was Daniela Souza of Mexico, who almost made a magnificent comeback with a spinning head kick late in her third round match. But then she made some very blunderous tactical errors and stepped out of bounds very quickly with fractions of a second left and got DQ'd with 5 Gamjons. So pretty tough ending for her.
Yes, that was actually very sad to see. That was one of the few Pan Am athletes competing in the morning session. Later on, we still had Lucas Guzman from Argentina, the last. And as I mentioned to you before, we started recording, and that was the end for the Pan Am region in the first day. They all got eliminated in the preliminary rounds.
We'll have to come roaring back tomorrow.
I think the top Pan Am superstars are still to show up. We still haven't seen the Americans. We still haven't seen Skylar Park. We still haven't seen the Brazilians. There's still a few strong cards in the deck.
Thank you. We have some hopes.
Yes, about spinning head kicks from Paula in the morning. There was also a very nice comeback from Adrian Vicente on his first match against the Palestinian guy. Very Absolutely. Nice spinning back kick, yes. But have you noticed that the headgear was not always registering?
Yes, I did. There were some very strong shots right to the side of the head that surprisingly took a video replay to get validated. So that's again, the equipment, the headgear was a little off for things like that. And also there was actually very little chest guard. So the new equipment was maybe a little bit too new.
Yes, well, at least the IVR was very fast. All the IVR decisions were done in a few seconds. Some of them didn't even have time to show up on the split screen that broadcasts are doing because they were really fast. The referees were very accurate, and it was a very good viewer experience to see that the high quality video replay cameras and the very fast and very accurate video review decisions.
Completely agree. That was wonderful. Another match.
Yes, good point.
I was going to say another match that I quite enjoyed was in 49 again, was a quarterfinal between Spain and Iran. Adriana Cerezo Iglesias with Mobina Namatsade. Mobina is very tall and long, not just tall, but very long, agile. And, I picked her to win, and she did. She got by Adriana, which is a bit of surprise to the crowd and the global audience, I think. But and then Mobina went on to win the bronze against Saudi Arabia, who had a very good day. Gave Panapak, quite a bit of a contest before Panapak pulled away. And then the Saudi also beat, really thoroughly beat Morocco in the repechage, the first repechage bout.
Yes, so, and in the first match, she beat Abishag Senbek from Israel. Also, she had a very, very good start of the day, and coming home with a bronze medal is always a good thing.
Yeah, I think these commentators, I think, were making a statement. I think it might have been the first for Saudi Arabia or the first by a Saudi woman. I'm not sure exactly what they were.
Yes, she was the first Saudi Arabian female athlete to compete at the Olympics.
Excellent.
And the Palestinian boy was the first Palestinian boy to actually qualify for the Olympics. The other ones that were before, they had wild cards. He actually qualified. He won the quota at the Asian qualification, and the same with the Saudi Arabian girl. And she was very, very good. She was already very good in the previous competitions, Asian Games and stuff. But qualification tournament she was basically dominant and supreme in all the matches, and at the Olympics we could see what an amazing work being done there, and I think it's very good for a developing country in female sports. That's
right.
A lot of excitement, and the same look at Vito. Vito was also one of those guys.
Yeah. Finally, I guess kudos to China, Guo Jing, for beating Merv Dinsel and then giving Panapak everything she could handle in the final. So well done there. She might be the force to be reckoned with now that Panapak's retired.
Yes. There's 49 is going to be quite an interesting to see next year at the Worlds. It's going to be quite a good category. Most of the competitors are still very young. And of course, we'll still have a lot to see and a lot of new talent that are still did not qualify for these games, but they will still be giving cards in continental events, and it's with the new ranking coming in and with all these new electronic scoring systems showing up, it's going to be quite an interesting few months ahead. I guess we will be talking a lot about those things later.
I'm sure he will, especially with Dato's new generation punch target on the chest.
Well, the outline for the World Junior Championships was revised. They announced it now that it's going to be Dedo. They don't say which generation is going to be used. Of course, there's always a chance that the juniors are kind of a sand at the playground, a trial system for them. For the new system before they put them into seniors. I think they still shouldn't do it at the Worlds. I think if you want to test a new system, you should not sacrifice the Junior Worlds, especially because the Junior Worlds do give you access to the adult ranking points. I think they should try it in continental open tournaments. They did one event in Barcelona last week. I think they should be trying it a little bit more before doing it in October in Korea, when 100 plus countries will be flying over without having access to the new socks, new gloves. I think it's quite an expense that will be problematic for the athletes, because most people won't have access to the equipment to practice before the Worlds if they decide to go with Generation 3. So again, what I think and what really happens, it's never the same thing. So I expect everything by now.
Yeah, they should have a direct line to you and get your opinion before they make those kind of decisions.
I guess they don't need to listen to podcasts and to regular coaches like us. They are the experts. We are just
right.
Those were the highlights. What do you think about the lowlights? For example, I think that missed a lot of the punches. A lot of the scoring on punches wasn't there when the punches were clearly strong and good. If you want to have punches in Taekwondo, and that's something that I don't really defend, I think if boxing doesn't have kicks, why should Taekwondo have punches? But if we do have the punches in Taekwondo, at least score them with a criteria. And currently, some of the punches that I would agree that were very strong and very correct punches didn't score. That could be a little problematic in terms of match management for the players that are counting on those points. It's going to be quite interesting tomorrow when we see the 57 from Czech Republic, or the day after tomorrow, the last day on Saturday, when we see the Petra also from Czech Republic, that are very strong with the punches, not being able to use their optimal weapon. And that was one of the things. Another thing was most of the grabbing and the interference on the clinch should actually be penalized. Holding and grabbing is forbidden, and you almost saw any counters for that.
Right. And there was even a few times where they did instant replays for, head kicks that did not come up on the system. On video replay, they approved them, but there was clear clutching and grabbing at the same time. So the commentators, Milica Mandic, said the same thing you did about the punching, that, she didn't agree with how they were not being scored. But again, she said it again, that they don't ask her. So, everybody's got that similar thought, I think.
All right. So let's keep it short so that we don't have to keep you awake too long. And any feedback or any expectations, anything you are looking forward to see tomorrow?
Well, we've got our Faith Dillon in female 57 that's first out of the gate for the U.S. She's on at 2:11 a.m. my time, so I'm going to be setting my alarm clock and getting up for that. And 57, I think, is pretty loaded with a lot of great athletes. So it should be good. I think there's going to be a few people retiring afterwards, a little disappointed with their results tomorrow, but we don't need to predict that doom and gloom right now.
I think 57 is by far the strongest female division in every competition, and in these Olympics is by far where the superstars are gathered. You will see amazing names competing, and I'm really sad we don't see Tatiana Nina. She will fair and square qualification. I think that some of the Russian athletes that really came from the back. They came into a qualification tournament without ranking points. They came without gathering competitiveness and all these experience from regular international competitions. They had to go there. They managed to get their spot. and in case of Tatiana, because, well, I am a fan of her. She's an amazing medalist in Tokyo, and this is going to be sad that she's not there. Yeah.
Yeah, we're huge fans of her too, and she beat Zhongxi Luo at the Grand Slam. So that really proved she was back in form, and then, like you say, she won the spot, but then it got overruled. So that's too bad. Men 68, I'm going to make a prediction tomorrow. I think Uligbek Rashitov is going to run away with it. I don't see anybody taking the gold from him. So we'll see.
Okay, good. Then I guess I'll wish you a very early going to bed time, a very early wake up time, and we'll catch up during the day through our, over the phone, and later at night in my time, we'll try to catch up for another chat and see if we can keep being so positive about the Olympics, because it's very hard to actually have a conversation where most of the things we have to say are positive, and these Olympics are actually one of those things.
All right. Well, we'll do that, and thanks again. We'll talk and communicate soon.
No, thank you, Don. Well, it was a pleasure being here with you, and again with everyone who is listening, all our fans out there. This was a Taekwondo podcast. If you haven't already, listen to our other episodes that are available wherever you listen to your podcasts. They're a little bit old, but we are back, and we are releasing new episodes every day this week until the end of the Olympics. Probably during the Paralympics we will try. It's going to be a little hard, but if not, hopefully every Tuesday from September on. Stay tuned, subscribe to the podcast, leave us a positive review, and share it to your friends. See you next time.
You've been listening to the Taekwondo podcast, keeping the fans, coaches, and high-performance athletes up to date with the latest news and trends on Olympic Taekwondo. Your host, Coach César Valentim, has almost 20 years of experience with high-performance Taekwondo and has worked all around the world as a Taekwondo trainer. We hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, find us on Instagram at Taekwondo Podcast, on Facebook at Taekwondo Cast, and the website taekwondopodcast.com. See you next time.